You wake up, but you don't feel alive. You stare at the ceiling, knowing deep down, this isn't who you're meant to be. You look strong, but inside, you're crumbling. Quietly. No one sees it, but you feel it. Like a weight pressing on your chest every damn morning. The heartbreak, the failure, the shame, the silence. You gave everything to people who walked away. You chased comfort, and it killed your fire. You scroll, you avoid, you distract, but you know exactly what you've become: a ghost. A man with no mission, no edge, no fire in his blood. But that ends now. This world won't hand you power. You have to build it, brick by brick, in silence, in pain, in darkness, until one day, they'll look for you, and you'll be unrecognizable, ashes in the wind, chains shattered at your feet, eyes burning with purpose. This is how silent power is built. The storm didn't break you. It forged you. And now, you rebuild. In silence. With fire. As a man reborn. Now stop scrolling. Comment below. I choose silence over weakness. Not for me. For you. Mark the day you chose discipline over distraction, control over chaos, warrior over victim. This channel isn't here to pat your back, it's here to punch your weakness in the mouth. Every video is a mirror, a weapon, a wake-up call. So if you're ready to cut the noise, to train your mind like a blade, to burn the old version of yourself to ash, subscribe. Turn the bell on. This isn't entertainment. This is war. And only men who rebuild in silence will walk out of the fire with power no one can take. The world rewards noise. The louder you scream, the more attention you get. The more you share, the more you're liked. But here's the truth. Loud men are weak. Silent men are dangerous. You've been taught to open up, to talk it out, to be soft, to be vulnerable. But no one ever taught you how to be unbreakable. No one taught you how to suffer with discipline, how to fight back with silence, how to stand tall when the storm hits your chest like a hammer. They gave you comfort. You needed chaos. They gave you excuses. You needed structure. They gave you pleasure. You needed pain. Now you're here, heartbroken, distracted, drained. You've chased dopamine like a dog chasing cars, scrolled yourself numb, begged for love from people who didn't love themselves. And when it all came crashing down, you looked in the mirror and didn't recognize the man staring back. You thought the world betrayed you, but it didn't. You betrayed yourself. But that's not where your story ends. Because buried beneath the weakness, there's a code, an ancient fire, the fire of Marcus Aurelius, the cold steel of Epictetus, the ruthless logic of Seneca. They lived without modern comfort. No likes, no validation, no noise, only war, only loss, only brutal, cold discipline, and they still stood tall. They still led armies, empires, and minds, because they mastered one truth. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Real strength begins there. Marcus Aurelius, you were not born to chase, you were not born to beg, you were born to build in silence, in solitude, with scars on your back and fire in your chest. This video is not for motivation. This is a blueprint, a cold, clear manual of 8 ruthless habits that will kill the weak man inside you and resurrect something ancient, something powerful, something that doesn't need applause, because silent power doesn't announce itself. It doesn't brag. It burns, quietly, daily, without fail. Are you ready to kill the version of yourself that the world created and become the man you were meant to be? Then listen carefully, apply relentlessly, and speak rarely. Your new life starts now. Let's begin. Let me tell you something the world won't. If you wake up with the world, you stay weak like the world. But if you wake up before the world, you walk ahead of it, that cold hour, when it's dark, when it's silent, when your room still feels like a tomb. That's where real men are made. The weak hit snooze. The strong strike first, because that hour before sunrise, it's not just time on the clock. It's a battlefield. And every morning it's you versus you. The ritual of war. Most men wake up as victims, phone in hand, head full of noise, scrolling before they even stand. They wake up reactive, already behind, already lost. But not you. Not anymore. You wake up before the sun, before the noise, before the texts, before the world starts begging for your attention. That's your sacred window. And what you do with it determines whether you remain a ghost or become a warrior. At 5 a.m., the battlefield is yours. No distractions, no weakness, no eyes watching. Just cold air, silence, and your soul. That's where you win. Why the cold hour hurts, and why you need that pain. Waking early hurts. Your body resists. Your mind begs you to stay in the warmth. But that pain, that's the first discipline of the day. And if you can master the first pain, the rest gets easier. Stoic philosophy never promised comfort. It promised clarity through struggle. The nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength. Marcus Aurelius. Calm doesn't come from luxury. It comes from sacrifice. When you rise in the cold and the dark and do it anyway, you silence the voice of weakness. You tell your soul, I own this day. That changes you. That rewires your mind. That kills the passive boy and makes room for the disciplined man. No notifications, no dopamine, no distractions. Before 6 a.m., your mind is pure. It's not infected yet. Not polluted by the algorithm, the headlines, the dopamine spikes. If you check your phone first thing, you're already lost. That cold hour isn't for Instagram. It's not for TikTok. It's not for begging likes from people who don't care about your future. It's for you. It's for building the mental edge that separates warriors from slaves. The Morning Iron Creed. Movement is law. Before you eat. Before you scroll. Before you speak, you move. Even if it's 10 push-ups. Even if it's walking outside and breathing cold air. You put your body under tension. Because a man who moves with pain moves with power. You think Marcus Aurelius had a snooze button? You think Roman soldiers waited until noon to move? Hell no. They moved with the sun. And if the sun was late, they moved before it. You move because your body is a machine, and idle machines rust. You move because weakness is a whisper, and motion silences it. Reading like a warrior, if your first words of the day come from Twitter, you've already lost. The Stoics believed in sharpening the mind before the body faced the world. That cold hour is where you read what elevates, what reminds you of death, what humbles your ego, what hammers your mission into your skull like a war drum. Pick up Epictetus, read one page of meditations, write one line in your journal. That's not soft. That's mental armoring, because if you don't feed your mind with discipline, it will feed itself with doubt, chaos, and excuses. Silence is power, and mourning is its kingdom. The world is afraid of silence. It fills every gap with noise, music, notifications, nonsense, but silence. Silence is where you meet you. No filters, no distractions. Just the man in the mirror asking, what the hell are you doing with your life? If you can't sit in silence in the morning, you'll never be calm in the storm later. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Seneca, the cold hour, forces you to face that. It strips away the lies and shows you the truth. You've wasted time. You've let your potential rot. You've played small while your purpose screamed for war. Now it's time to change. The warrior's checklist. Cold hour protocol. Wake up before 6 a.m. No snooze. No negotiation. This is a command. Rise like your life depends on it. No phone for 60 minutes. Silence the addiction. The world can wait. Your mission can't. Move the body. Train. Stretch. Cold shower. Whatever hurts. That pain is your entry fee to power. Feed the mind. Read philosophy. Listen to silence. Reflect. You're not just building muscle. You're building wisdom. Review your mission. What are you building today? What are you eliminating? What must die for you to rise? Do this daily, without fail. It's not about motivation, it's about identity. You're not a man who wants to win. You're a man who wakes up to win. Excuses are the enemy. I'm not a morning person. I go to bed late. I need more sleep. Shut it down. Those are the words of men who want comfort, not greatness. You sleep 8 hours, then spend 16 avoiding your mission. You don't need more rest. You need more purpose. If you were in a war zone, would you sleep in? No. You'd be ready. You'd be alert. You'd move with urgency. Well, guess what? This is a war zone. Your future is under attack. Your time is bleeding out, and the enemy is inside your head. Your morning builds. Your identity. Every man has a story, and most stories are tragic, not because of fate, but because of laziness. Morning is where you rewrite the story. Wake up early once. You feel proud. Wake up early for a week. You feel powerful. Wake up early for a year. You become power. You don't change by watching motivational videos. You change by suffering through the same habit, over and over and over, until your soul aligns with your discipline. You become a ghost in the morning, a shadow no one sees. But every day you're building muscle, focus, mental clarity, unshakable discipline. And one day they'll ask, how did he do it? And they won't believe the answer. I woke up before the world. You don't owe the world anything until you master yourself. You owe no one a response. You owe no one your energy until you've poured it into yourself, until you've hardened your mind, until your morning belongs to you. Every man who changed, history had a ritual. Every warrior had solitude. Every king had a cold hour, and so must you. You are no longer the man who chases women, likes, or comfort. You are the man who rises. Before the sun, before the enemy, before the world. End of chapter. War cry, wake up, warrior. Before the world, before the weakness, before your demons have time to speak. Rise in the dark. Move in silence. Build before anyone sees you. That's how silent power is forged. Not in noise, not in comfort, but in cold, brutal, lonely hours, where no one is watching, but you are rising. This is the rule of the cold hour. Break the snooze. Break the weakness. Rebuild the fire. And walk into the day already victorious, already a threat. Chapter 1 ends here. But your war has just begun. You want strength. But you avoid pain. And that's the reason you're still weak. Pain isn't your enemy. It's the only friend that's ever told you the truth. And every day that you run from it, you stay soft, you stay small, you stay broken. So hear this. You must train your pain daily, not once a week, not when it's convenient. Daily, because pain is the forge. And men are made of fire, not comfort. The lie of modern men, they told you to take it easy, to listen to your body, to slow down. But that advice made you soft. You used to be a beast. Now you're tired by noon, distracted, anxious, weak. You call it stress, but it's not stress. It's unused strength. You were built to suffer, built to strain, built to feel your lungs burn, your muscles tremble, your body collapse, and still rise. But now, you sit in a chair all day and wonder why your soul is screaming. No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself. Seneca, you've been denied the fight, so now you rot in peace. The body is the battlefield. Your body is the gateway to your mind. If your body is undisciplined, your mind will follow. Stoics didn't just preach mental strength. They trained like warriors. They fasted, they marched, they endured freezing nights and brutal days without complaint. They didn't cry about discipline. They embodied it. Because when the body is under tension, the mind is forced to obey. You think this is just about fitness? This is about domination, of self, of doubt, of fear. Push your body until your weakness screams, and keep going until it dies. You don't need a gym. You need grit, no excuses. You don't need the perfect workout plan. You don't need a gym membership. You don't need supplements, influencers, or equipment. You need pain and the will to face it. You can train in the dirt. You can sprint until your legs betray you. You can do push-ups until your arms give out. You can take cold showers and freeze the weakness out of your bones. It's not about the method, it's about the mentality. You either train like your life depends on it, or you decay slowly while others pass you by. The war ritual, daily suffering. Blueprint: want to be disciplined? Then suffer before the sun rises. Cold shower, first strike. Start the day with a hit of cold, no heat, no comfort, just you, your breath, and the sting. Control your reaction, or remain a slave to it. Physical training, the purge. Lift, sprint, carry, fight, strain your body until your inner voice shuts up, until your mind stops resisting and starts submitting. Walk alone, the reflection. After the pain, walk alone. No phone, just your breath, your body, and your mission. This is where your next move is born. Pain is not punishment. Pain is the price. Most men believe pain is something to avoid, but warriors understand it's something to seek. You're not punished by it. You're purified by it. Pain teaches you. It shows you your limits, then dares you to shatter them. You lift because it's hard. You run because your lungs hate you. You endure because most men can't. And that's why you rise. Because most won't. Most will surrender to soreness. Most will quit when their hands shake. Most will fold when the lactic acid builds. But not you. You keep going. Because you know that the burn in your chest is the birth of your power. Don't train for aesthetics. Train for war. This isn't about six-pack abs. This isn't about Instagram pictures. This isn't about beach season. This is about being ready. Ready to fight. Ready to protect. Ready to stand when others collapse. When the crisis comes, and it will, you'll thank yourself for every brutal rep, for every drop of sweat, for every morning you could have quit but didn't. You'll be calm in the chaos. Because you've trained for it. You didn't sculpt a body. You forged a weapon. Your pain becomes your pride. You think strength is built in comfort? It's built in the dark, in the sweat, in the moments where you almost broke, but didn't. The day you collapse after a brutal workout, the day your hands bleed from the pull-up bar, the day you vomit after sprinting, is the day your weakness dies a little more. You'll carry those moments like scars, and those scars will speak louder than words, because they say, this man suffered, this man survived. That's how pride is born, not through applause, through agony. Reclaim your primitive nature. You were not born to sit. You were not born to scroll. You were born to hunt, to fight, to endure, to sweat. Every muscle in your body is a message from your ancestors. You were built to move. You were built for pain. Modernity made you fragile, but the pain will make you primal again. When you train hard, when you scream into the void and push through it, you're not just working out, you're returning home. No one cares about your pain until you turn it into power. No one's coming to save you. No one will carry you through this. No one will suffer for you. You want a better body? Train it. You want unshakable confidence? Bleed for it. You want inner peace? Earn it under pressure. Don't hope that events will turn out the way you want. Welcome events in whichever way they happen. This is the path to peace. Epictetus: you don't train to impress. You train to own yourself. Every rep is a rebellion against weakness. Every drop of sweat is proof you're not like the others. Every session is a silent scream. I will not be soft, I will not be broken. The world will see the result, but they'll never understand the process. They'll see the broad shoulders, the calm eyes, the posture, the power, but they'll never see the early mornings, the cold showers, the aching knees, the skipped parties, the isolation, the darkness. And that's okay, because you're not training for them. You're training to face life alone, to walk through hell and not flinch, to bury the boy and resurrect the man. You're training for war, and war doesn't need applause. Final orders make pain a daily commandment. You don't skip pain, you don't negotiate with it, you invite it every single day, even when it's raining, even when you're tired, even when your mind tells you to rest. Because the goal isn't to feel good, it's to become a man who can move forward, even when he feels nothing. You don't wait for motivation. You follow orders. You obey your higher self. You become your own drill sergeant, and that voice inside you, the one begging for comfort, you silence him with sweat, with scars, with savage discipline. This is how warriors are made. This is how weak men die. This is how you build power, through pain. There comes a point in every man's life where silence becomes louder than begging, where walking away speaks more than screaming, where disappearing becomes the first step to resurrection. You've been told to talk it out. You've been told to stay friends. You've been told to heal together. That's a trap, because every time you look back, every time you reply, every time you leave that door cracked open, you bleed power, and you don't even realize it. You're not heartbroken, you're drained. Let's get something straight. You're not falling apart because of her. You're falling apart because of the energy you keep handing away. You check her profile. You replay her messages. You wait for a reply that's never coming. You write paragraphs in your head, rewriting the past, and she's already moved on. The more you chase closure, the more you close yourself off from growth. The more you cling to dead connections, the more you rot with them. He who angers you conquers you. Epictetus, so tell me, why are you still letting ghosts dictate your emotions? No contact is not revenge, it's rebirth. You think cutting people off is cruel? Let me ask you something harsher. What's more cruel? Walking away from their comfort, or staying and letting your soul die slowly? No contact isn't about them. It's about you. It's not about punishing. It's about protecting your peace, your focus, your future. You can't build in noise. You can't evolve when your energy is constantly being siphoned by unresolved pasts. So walk away. Without the final message, without the dramatic goodbye, without the closure, because the only closure you ever needed was a mirror and a mission. Cut off access, not emotion. Let me be clear. You can still love someone and never speak to them again. You can still care and never look back. You can still forgive and never reopen that door. Closure is a myth. If someone truly cared, you wouldn't need it. If they didn't, then your peace is the only answer left. Your value doesn't decrease because someone failed to see it, and you don't reclaim your worth by proving it. You reclaim it in silence, by building, by growing, by becoming unrecognizable. Every time you respond, you trade power for attention. You reply to the message. You leave the story view on. You accidentally like their post. You let them know you're still around. Why? Because deep down, you're hoping they'll come back. You're still operating from fear, not strength. From weakness, not worth. But every time you engage, you give them control. And a man who needs control from others is not a man yet. You are not their therapist. You are not their savior. You are not their option. You are a man on a mission. And missions require focus. The rule: block, delete, disappear, rebuild. Block, not to be petty, but to protect your mental bandwidth. Delete, not to erase the past, but to stop living in it. Disappear, no warnings, no announcements, just vanish. Rebuild, in silence, in darkness, with rage turned into fuel. This is the no-contact code. It's not about becoming cold. It's about becoming clear. You can't move forward if your feet are still tangled in yesterday. Why most men stay stuck, and how you escape. Most men don't move on because they're still hoping, still playing scenarios in their heads, still checking who they're with, still praying for a text, but hope unchecked becomes emotional slavery. You keep showing up in her life, and she already left yours. You're stuck in purgatory, not together, not apart, just bleeding silently in between. You want to escape? Then do the one thing most men are too afraid to do. Go completely silent. Sometimes even to live is an act of courage. Seneca, to walk away and not look back, takes more strength than holding on ever did. How no contact makes you more dangerous, you think silence is weakness. Then you've never seen a man train in the dark. A man who vanished for 6 months and came back built like a tank, with cold eyes and a mission stitched into his soul. When you disappear, they wonder. They stalk your page. They send just checking in texts. They try to figure out what happened. You don't respond. You don't explain. You evolve. You let your transformation speak louder than any closure ever could. No contact isn't just for exes. It's for everyone draining. This isn't just about breakups. This is about friends who don't clap for you, family who guilt trip you, circles who mock your growth. Any person who drains your focus, your peace, your vision, cut them off. You don't owe anyone access. You don't owe anyone your energy, especially those who waste it. Your peace is sacred. Your mission is priority. And your time is war. You can't build while looking back. Every time you check their page, you lose time. You lose mental space. You lose self-respect. That's time you could have been building your business, training your body, reading philosophy, studying war, stacking wins, crafting your comeback. But instead, you're scrolling through their vacation photos. Tell me, how long will you sacrifice your future for people who already forgot you? Stop watering dead gardens. The world doesn't owe you closure. You owe yourself rebirth. Don't explain your silence, Arian. Let it echo. You don't need to tell them why. You don't need to justify your silence. You don't need to post stories saying, "I'm doing me." Just do it. Let them wonder. Let them sit in silence. Let them face the mirror you no longer hold up for them, because silence is louder than shouting. And mystery is more powerful than exposure. A man who vanishes to rebuild will always return stronger than the one who stayed to argue. Your energy is currency. Spend it like a king. Think of your energy like money. Would you hand $1,000 to someone who spit in your face? Would you invest in someone who ghosted you? Then why give your attention, your thoughts, your presence to someone who didn't value you? No contact is financial. It's spiritual. It's strategic. Your energy is sacred. Protect it, guard it, spend it on building you. The no contact code is a lifestyle, not a phase. You don't just go no contact after heartbreak. You live it daily. You stop replying to drama. You stop engaging gossip. You stop proving your worth. You operate in silence. You build behind black walls. You protect your peace like a fortress. And the best part? No one sees the comeback. They just feel the earthquake when you return. Final orders. Enforce the no contact code without mercy. You are no longer the man who begs. You are no longer the man who texts twice. You are no longer the man who needs closure. You are the man who walks away without a sound. You are the man who blocks, deletes, disappears, and rebuilds. You don't chase. You don't explain. You execute. And when the world asks what happened to you, you say nothing. Because men like you don't talk. They evolve. They dominate. They rise. This is the no contact code. Memorize it. Live it. Let it set you free. Disappear. That's your next move. Not a post, not a text, not an update. Just vanish. Let them talk. Let them guess. Let them doubt. Because while they run their mouths, you're building in silence. The world wants to watch you. Fail people don't support your growth. They monitor it. They don't clap. They compare. They don't wish you well. They wait for you to fall. Every time you post your journey, they're not inspired. They're entertained. They watch for cracks. They track your stumbles. They pray for the day you burn out so they can say, "See, he was never built for it." So stop feeding them. Stop giving them the privilege of watching you struggle. Go dark, because you owe no one a front row seat to your transformation. What you owe is results. The ghost phase isn't isolation. It's incubation. You're not disappearing to escape. You're disappearing to evolve. Caterpillars don't announce their cocoon. They vanish. They suffer in silence. They break. And when they return, they don't explain. They fly. You're in your cocoon now. And no one needs to understand what's happening inside. Because greatness isn't built in the spotlight. It's built in the shadows, when no one's watching, when no one believes, when no one claps. Silence is a weapon. You think silence is weak? No. Silence is strategic. It keeps people guessing. It robs your enemies of their target. It protects your energy from being drained by noise and nonsense. When you say nothing, they can't twist your words. They can't counter your moves. They can't copy your playbook. You become unpredictable, unreachable, untouchable. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Marcus Aurelius, be so silent. They wonder if you died or ascended. No one cares about the grind until you win. You're not here to impress. You're here to build. You don't need to prove you're working. You don't need to show your schedule. You don't need to validate your discipline with likes. Winners don't broadcast their struggle. They broadcast their arrival. Let your success be the first thing they hear from you. Let your results be your loudest word. Let your glow-up be so shocking it looks like vengeance. But you don't say a thing. You just walk past them. Eyes forward. Mission locked. Mind cold. This is the time to cut, create, and conquer. Use this ghost phase to cut out everyone who talks but doesn't build. Create a new version of yourself that doesn't flinch. Conquer the chaos that used to control you. No one needs to see the mess. No one deserves to hear the early mornings, the failed reps, the tired eyes, the broken plans you rebuilt from scratch. Let the mess stay private. Let the work stay sacred. Let the world think you're gone. And then return as a effing storm. Stop sharing your goals and start crushing them. Every time you speak your goal, you get a little dopamine, a hit of approval, a fake reward, and that fake reward kills your hunger. You feel good before you even begin, so you don't begin. The Stoics didn't brag, they acted. Don't explain your philosophy, embody it. Epictetus, you want to become great? Don't tweet it, don't post about it, don't even speak it. Just do the damn work, relentlessly, brutally, quietly. Build a life that shocks the ones who left. Let's be honest. Some people walked away because you weren't there yet. You were halfway built. You were uncertain. You were still bleeding, so they chose to leave. Fine. Let them. But don't chase. Build. Let your silence be your payback. Let your transformation haunt their memory. Not with petty posts or emotional messages, but with absolute dominance. They left you in the dirt. Return as the mountain they now have to climb. You're not lonely. You're just alone with purpose. This phase feels lonely. No calls, no replies, no one checking in. Good. Use it. This silence is pure. There's no drama, no noise. Just you and the war inside your mind. The longer you stay here, the more dangerous you become. Because a man alone, with purpose, is a man no one can manipulate. No one can derail. No one can stop. You're not lonely. You're locked in. Make the world feel your absence. When you vanish, people panic. They realize they took your presence for granted. They remember your discipline, your focus, your fire, but they can't access it anymore. Because you're not the man you were. You're becoming a shadow, a myth, a force. And when you return, you don't reintroduce yourself. You don't explain the silence. You let your eyes say what your mouth never will. I never stopped. I just stopped showing you. The discipline of going dark. Going dark isn't just about silence. It's about self-command. Can you grind without applause? Can you push without praise? Can you suffer in silence without needing sympathy? That's where the real men separate from the boys. This ghost phase is training, not for your body, but for your soul. It teaches you to walk without guidance, to grow without validation, to believe when no one claps, to execute when no one's watching. It's the ultimate freedom. Make your comeback so violent. They think it's revenge. Disappearing isn't the goal. Returning stronger is. And when you do return, don't tell them what you've been doing. Show them what you've become. Come back with a body they don't recognize, a mindset they can't shake, a silence they can't penetrate, a presence that commands rooms. This isn't petty. This is power, not revenge. Remastery. You don't return for applause. You return for conquest. Operate like a ghost. Strike like a god. You are no longer available. You don't explain your mood. You don't show your plan. You don't warn before moving. You observe. You analyze. You strike. Quiet. Calm. Precise. That's what Stoicism teaches you. Stillness is strength. Silence is structure. Emotion is noise. While the world screams for attention, you disappear, then dominate. Final orders. Embrace the ghost phase without flinching. You are now in the shadows. Good. Stay there. Don't announce your goals. Crush them. Don't argue your worth. Show it. Don't beg for attention. Outgrow it. The man who rebuilds in silence becomes a storm in public. Let them doubt. Let them forget. Let them sleep on you, because when you come back, you won't be the man they remember. You'll be the man they fear. This is the ghost phase. Rebuild in silence, return in power. Speak with results. And until then, they'd say nothing. Let me tell you a brutal truth. Your first reaction is almost always wrong. It's emotional, it's blind, it's impulsive. And impulsive men, they lose, they bleed, they self-destruct. You want power? Kill your reaction. Don't speak. Don't lash out. Don't move. Observe. Breathe. Wait. Then strike with cold logic. Because that's how men win wars. Not by feeling, by thinking. Emotion is a trap. You think you're being real when you explode. When you rage. When you rant. When you cry out loud. But you're not being real. You're being weak. You're leaking power. You're handing control to the moment, to her words, to his disrespect, to the noise. Every time you respond emotionally, you let the world pull your strings like a puppet, and real men don't dance on strings. If someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. Epictetus, it's not them, it's you. You let it in, you fed it, you gave your enemy the ammo. Next time, don't. Next time, hold the line. Master the pause. It's where power lives. Feel it rise in your chest, that urge to speak, that fire in your throat, that tightening in your fists. Now stop. That's the moment, that's the test. Every man has a choice. React like a child, or pause like a king. The pause isn't weakness. It's war strategy. It's the second that separates you from disaster. Because in the pause, you assess, you analyze, you calculate, and then, if needed, you attack with precision, not emotion. Execution. Emotion destroys. Discipline. Discipline isn't about doing the right thing when it feels right. It's about doing the right thing especially when it doesn't. Emotions blur vision. They hijack your clarity. They whisper lies into your ear. Say something now. They need to hear your side. You can't let that slide. She's testing you. Fight back. Shut it down. The moment you obey those voices, you lose ground. You lose presence. You lose power. Real control? It looks boring. It sounds like silence. It feels like steel behind the eyes. It's not what they expect. And that's what makes it deadly. Cold men win. Let them scream. Let them over-explain. Let them defend their name in every room. You say, nothing. You sit still. You watch. You move only when it serves your purpose, because cold men don't argue, they act. Cold men don't react, they respond, like snipers, like tacticians, like wolves waiting behind the trees. A man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions. Marcus Aurelius. And your ambition? To be unshakable. So next time life throws chaos at you, don't flinch, don't frown, just lock in. Because the colder you are, the clearer you become. Emotional men are predictable and easily controlled. When you're emotional, people can read you. They know how to trigger you, how to manipulate you, how to throw you off. That makes you weak. And weak men get replaced. In business, in war, in relationships, in life. You ever notice the most powerful men in a room don't say much? That's not an accident, that's control. They don't need to prove they're right. They know they are. They don't need to show strength. They embody it. That's who you must become. The man no one can read, no one can bait, no one can break. How to kill the reaction. Step by step 1. Feel it without feeding it. The anger comes, the fear, the embarrassment, the urge to lash out. Let it rise, let it exist, but do not fuel it. Breathe through it like a storm. It's just noise, let it pass. Say nothing. Silence is your weapon. They expect noise, you give them void. They want your energy, you give them indifference. Analyze with logic. Ask, is this situation worth my energy? Will reacting help or hurt me long term? Am I moving with purpose or with ego? Respond only. When necessary, and when you do, respond with strategy. 1 sentence, 1 look, 1 action. Calm, sharp, final. 5. Use the data. Every trigger teaches you. Study your reactions like a general studying the enemy. Know your weaknesses, then eliminate them. Kill the need to be understood. You think you need to explain yourself, to tell your side, to clear your name, to justify your silence. You don't. The world doesn't care about the truth. It cares about spectacle. And explaining yourself to people who aren't listening is wasted power. You want peace? Let them misunderstand you. Let them mislabel you. Let them spin their stories. Because you're not here to be understood. You're here to become unstoppable. Let your results scream louder than your words ever could. Want a woman respect control, not complaints. You think you're winning her back by pouring your heart out? Wrong. You're showing her you're still reactive, still soft, still emotionally chaotic. Women don't chase men who need them. They chase men who master themselves. The more emotional you are, the less magnetic you become. The colder you are, the more she wonders what you're building, who you're becoming. What's going on behind that unreadable silence? Silence isn't punishment. It's respect for yourself. And the man who respects himself commands respect from others. Cold logic is what builds empires. The Roman generals weren't screaming on the battlefield. They were calculating, adapting, moving troops with precision while others lost their minds. You want to build an empire? You need to think like a commander. That means controlling your time, controlling your inputs, controlling your emotions, controlling your moves. Emotion is short-term power. Logic is long-term dominance. You're not just reacting to life anymore. You're engineering it, and to engineer you must detach, step back, zoom out. Think like a king. Not everything deserves a response. They ghost you. Stay silent. They insult you. Walk away. They lie on your name. Let the truth catch up later. Every time you respond, you burn mental fuel. You hand out pieces of yourself to people who don't deserve them. You make yourself smaller, just to be seen. Stop that. You're not accessible. You're not reactive. You're not in the mood. You're focused on your build, on your mission, on your rebirth. Let them talk. Let them wonder. You're too cold to care. Final orders. Become ice in a world of fire. You are now a man of strategy, not sensitivity. Your emotions are tools, not rulers. You speak less. You think more. You wait. You watch. You strike only when it matters. No wasted energy. No impulsive moves. No need for approval. You are steel behind the eyes. You are a storm behind the calm. You are unreadable, unstoppable, unbreakable. Be tolerant with others, but strict with yourself. Marcus Aurelius. So, be strict. Strict with your reactions, with your mind, with your movement. Because cold logic isn't cruelty, it's control. And the man who masters control, masters his world. You've been lied to. They told you more is better. More meals, more goals, more talking, more scrolling, more comfort. But here's the truth. Power doesn't come from what you consume. It comes from what you can walk away from. You don't need more. You need less. Less food, less noise, less pleasure, less distraction. One meal, one mission. That's it. That's the rule now. Gluttony is modern slavery. They don't need to chain your hands anymore. They've chained your attention. They've hijacked your hunger. They've made you a slave to craving. You eat not because you're hungry, but because you're bored. You scroll not because you care, but because you can't sit still. You chase goals not because they matter, but because you can't commit to one, and that's why you're weak. You're spread thin, bloated, mentally overfed, spiritually starved. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor. Seneca, you want real power? Starve the cravings. Feed the discipline. One meal a day, feed the body with restraint. Let's start with food. You don't need 6 meals a day. You don't need snacks every hour. You don't need comfort in every bite. You need one thing: control. When you eat once a day, intentionally, cleanly, brutally, you train your body to obey. No more emotional eating. No more eating out of habit. No more letting cravings dictate your day. Hunger becomes your ally. It sharpens your focus. It builds your patience. It forges mental steel. One meal, fuel, not pleasure. War rations, not celebration. Eat like a man on a mission, not a boy chasing pleasure. One goal a day. Focus is a weapon. You write a to-do list with 15 tasks. By the end of the day, you've done none. Because men don't fail from laziness. They fail from lack of clarity. So kill the list. Pick one mission, crush it, and repeat. One video, one business task, one workout, one difficult conversation, one meaningful act. Do less. Do it better. Do it like your life depends on it, because it does. If you seek tranquility, do less, or more accurately, do what's essential. Marcus Aurelius. Essential. Not everything, just the thing that moves the needle. Starve the noise. Your brain isn't tired, it's overstimulated. Every 5 seconds, you scroll. Every 5 minutes, you switch tasks. Every 5 hours, you've consumed enough digital junk to last a week. You think you're multitasking, but really, you're scattered, dull, wired, and worthless. Your mind was meant to be sharp like a blade, but you've dulled it with junk input. The rule now? Silence. Stillness. Selectivity. Stop listening to everything. Stop watching everything. Stop reading everything. Be ruthless with your mind, because what you consume consumes you. Rewire dopamine. Through deprivation, you want to feel alive again? Then stop giving your brain everything it wants. Delete the app. Skip the sugar. Turn off the background noise. Let your brain get bored. Let your hunger build. Let your desire simmer instead of suffocating it in instant pleasure. That's when the fire returns. That's when your drive wakes up. That's when you stop numbing and start building. The longer you go without, the stronger you become. The less you consume, the more you create. Painful? Yes. Powerful? Absolutely. Stop hoarding. Start honing. You hoard apps. You hoard goals. You hoard information. You hoard options. And it's killing your edge. Minimalism isn't about being a monk. It's about being a killer. Clear space. Clear goals. Clear identity. You don't need more tools. You need to use the ones you already have with savage intent. Cut the clutter. Kill the noise. Wield what remains like a weapon. Restraint is masculine. You've been sold a lie. That real men indulge. That alpha means appetite. That dominance is consumption. But restraint? Restraint is God-tier masculinity. The man who can say no to junk owns his body. The man who can say no to distraction owns his mind. The man who can say no to temptation owns his soul. You don't need more. You don't need excess. You need edge. And edge is born from saying that's enough. The discipline of less, it's not about punishment. It's about precision. Eat once, train hard, focus deep, scroll less, speak less, want less. And what remains is pure power. You eliminate the useless, and what's left is unshakable. They won't understand it. They'll say you're too extreme, too intense, too disciplined. Good. Let them live on scraps. You're chasing sovereignty, and that path is paved with self-denial. Refuse the buffet. Life today is a buffet. Unlimited choices, endless pleasure, infinite distraction. But you don't need 17 sauces. You need one steak, cooked right, devoured with hunger, finished with focus. Pick one thing. Do it with depth. Reject the rest. That's how empires are built. One block at a time. One task. One discipline. One cold decision. Buffet life breeds beggars. Controlled life builds kings. Cut the excess. Forge the edge. This chapter isn't about minimalism. It's about maximizing danger. You cut excess so your instincts sharpen, so your fire has oxygen, so your presence becomes unmistakable. A man who moves with restraint commands a room without saying a word. He's not jittery. He's not scattered. He's focused because his power doesn't come from how much he does. It comes from how much he chooses not to do. Final orders: one meal, one mission, daily. This is the new law. One meal. Eat like a soldier. Fuel the machine. No pleasure, just purpose. One mission. Pick the one thing that matters. Do it like your life depends on it, because it does. One mind. No more scrolling. No more chaos. No more noise. This is how men rise. Through less. While they drown in distractions, you sharpen in silence. While they stuff themselves with garbage, you fast like a king. While they juggle 10 tasks, you execute one with lethal precision. This is not about deprivation. It's about domination. Because the man who controls his consumption controls his world. Now go, refuse more, master less, own everything. You will die. Not someday, not eventually, but soon. Maybe next year, maybe next week, maybe tonight, in your sleep. And no one wants to hear that, because the truth is raw. It's ugly. It burns through the fake promises and soft illusions you've wrapped your life in. But you're not here for comfort. You're here for fire. And that fire begins with this fact: you're going to die. So now the question is, what the hell are you doing with your life? What is memento mori? Memento mori. Latin for remember, you must die. It was carved into rings worn by Stoic warriors. It was etched into walls whispered before battles, meditated on in silence. It wasn't morbid, it was clarifying. Because only a fool forgets death. Only a coward avoids the mirror. But the Stoics? They looked death in the face every single day. And that's what made them unstoppable, unbreakable, unshakably calm. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Marcus Aurelius. Daily death is not fear, it's focus. Most men live like they're immortal. You put things off. You scroll like time is infinite. You act like you'll always have tomorrow. You won't. You chase girls. You delay your dream. You sleep on your purpose, as if your clock isn't ticking, as if your body isn't aging, as if your story isn't already halfway done. Here's the truth. You're not afraid of death. You're afraid of dying as a man who never lived. Death shrinks the ego. You think you're important? Death doesn't. You think you've got time? Death laughs. You think your pain, your drama, your anxiety, all of it matters? It doesn't. Not in the grave. Not when your bones are dust. So why are you still holding on to ego? Why are you still trying to prove yourself to people who won't show up to your funeral? Let it go. Kill the pride. Burn the arrogance. Because when you meditate on death, you remember, none of this matters, except what you build before you're gone. Memento mori kills procrastination. How many things have you said you'll do next month? Start the business. Fix your health. Walk away from the wrong people. Write the damn book. Apologize. Speak your truth. Rebuild your name. You keep delaying, like the clock is merciful. It's not. There is no right time. There is only now. And death doesn't ask if you're ready. So why are you still sitting? Still sleeping in? Still talking instead of doing? One day your name will be whispered by people who outlived you. Will they speak it with regret? With sorrow? Or with respect? Meditation on death creates urgency. You don't rise early because it feels good. You rise because death is coming. You don't eat clean because you like broccoli. You do it because you want to live longer, fight harder, think sharper. You don't walk away from drama because it's easy. You do it because you don't have time to waste on petty people who don't build. That's urgency. And urgency is power. Because when most men hesitate, you move. When most men doubt, you decide. When most men delay, you execute. Memento mori gives you that edge. Live so that death finds you. Empty, imagine this. You die tomorrow, and you've still got unspoken words, unbuilt dreams, unforgiven rage, untouched strength. You leave behind potential. That's failure. The goal is not to die with time left. The goal is to die completely used up. No love withheld, no strength wasted, no vision unchased. You want to live like a warrior? Then die like one too, empty, exhausted, fulfilled. The grave is crowded with cowards. The graveyard is full of men who never started, who said maybe later, who waited for permission, who feared embarrassment, who wanted to be safe more than they wanted to be strong. You want to join them? Or do you want to die with blood on your knuckles, sweat on your chest, and fire in your eyes? Because you will die. That's guaranteed. But how you die, that's still up to you. Use death to fuel your discipline. Every time you want to skip the workout, remember death. Every time you want to eat like trash, remember death. Every time you want to waste another hour scrolling, remember death. Because one day you won't be able to train, you won't be able to move, you won't be able to speak. All you'll have is what you built before that day came. Let that truth sit in your bones. Let it burn you alive, because a man who lives with death beside him never sleeps on his power. Memento mori makes you fearless. You're scared of what? Rejection? Judgment? Losing money? Being alone? You're already dying. You're afraid of public speaking, but not the coffin. You're afraid of failure, but not the funeral. Think. The Stoics didn't fear war, disease, exile, because they had mastered death. They walked with it. They used it. They became unshakable because they knew the worst had already been accepted. You want that level of calm? Then stop fearing what's guaranteed. Smile at death. And move forward. Make death your daily practice. This isn't about writing RIP in your journal. It's about perspective. Every morning, ask, what if today is the last? Every night, ask, did I waste this day? Make that your ritual. No excuses. No distractions. No delay. Just brutal reflection. Daily awareness. Absolute clarity. This is your clock now. Not the 9 to 5, not the calendar, but death. And when you move like that, you move with fire. Final orders. Die before you die. The old version of you. The passive you. The lazy you. The people pleaser, the overthinker, the coward. Kill him, let him die today. You were not born to live quietly. You were not born to die full. You were born to burn out on purpose. So burn. Let every decision be urgent. Let every hour be war. Let every breath be a weapon. You are going to die. That's a promise. But if you live like a warrior, that death will be the exclamation mark to a life that meant something. Memento mori. Remember your death. Then live so powerfully. Even the grave shakes when you arrive. The battlefield is your life. The war is your mind. And your weapon is the pen. Not for poetry. Not for soft emotions. For strategy. Because if you can't see your thoughts, you can't sharpen them. And if you can't sharpen them, you can't survive this world. This chapter is your final tool, the Iron Journal. A daily ritual that separates thinkers from reactors, builders from drifters, kings from cowards. You live chaotic because you think chaotic. Most men are lost, not because they lack power, but because they lack clarity. You don't know what you did today. You don't know what distracted you. You don't know where you're headed. You just move. You're not building a life. You're winging it. But warriors don't wing war. They plan. They study. They write everything down. When the light has gone out and my household is silent, I examine my entire day and go back over what I've done and said. Seneca, this is not a journal. This is a logbook for war. Write it down. Or repeat the same day forever. You've lived the same day 1,000 times. Wake up, distract yourself, react, procrastinate, justify, go to bed frustrated, repeat. Nothing changes because you're not holding yourself accountable. Here's how you fix that. You write. Every single night. Not pages, not stories. Just truth. What did I do today? Where did I fall short? What must die in me tonight? So I rise better tomorrow? If you don't track the war, you'll keep losing it. Why the Stoics wrote, every day Marcus Aurelius didn't write Meditations to publish. He wrote it to survive. It wasn't art. It was armor. He ruled an empire, led armies, watched people betray him, buried children. And still, every night he wrote. He documented his thoughts. He examined his flaws. He challenged his ego, because reflection is power. Don't explain your philosophy, embody it. Epictetus. How do you embody? You record. You measure. You cut what doesn't serve. You rebuild what matters. You want to be stoic? Then write like one. What you don't track you can't master. You want discipline? Then document it. What time did you wake up? Did you train hard or half-heartedly? Did you break your fast or your focus? What distraction beat you today? What excuse did you use? When you write it down, the lies die. The illusion dies. The bullshit dies. All that remains is truth, and truth is what you build on. Most men float. You will track. Most men wander. You will record your warpath. The 5-minute night ritual, this isn't complicated. It's a weaponized habit. Every night before bed. What did I do right today? Don't fake it. If you didn't win, don't pretend. But if you did, own it. 2. Where did I fail today? Not to shame yourself. To spot the weakness before it becomes a pattern. What will I fix tomorrow? Make it actionable. One decision, one reversal, one commitment. What am I building? Reaffirm the mission. Keep the vision sharp. What must I eliminate? A habit. A thought. A person. A shortcut. Cut it now or it cuts you later. That's it. 5 minutes. No filters. No fluff. Just raw truth. Written in steel. The journal is where the ghost speaks. During the day, you wear the armor. You speak with confidence. You move with focus. But at night, that's when the ghost version of you speaks. The one who still hurts. The one who remembers. The one who fears. You don't run from him. You write to him. You confront him. You bleed onto the page. You reveal the shadows. You turn chaos into clarity. You're not journaling. You're leading yourself through the battlefield. No one needs to read it. That's the point. This isn't for Instagram. It's not for your girlfriend. It's not a flex. This is between you and the mirror. Write like no one's watching. Write like no one will ever see it. Write what you're too scared to admit out loud, because those are the words that matter. Those are the lies that break. Those are the truths that build men. Turn patterns into precision. You're not failing randomly. You're failing predictably. You skip your mission the same time every day. You give in to lust during the same triggers. You lose focus after the same distraction. But until you document it, you can't destroy it. You want power? Then become a master of your own behavior. Spot the loops. Break them with intention. Your journal becomes your combat log. The more detailed it gets, the more dangerous you become. The man who writes is the man who commands himself. Don't just read about discipline. Don't just talk about focus. Track it. Hold yourself accountable. In ink. Because the man who writes daily sharpens his thinking, owns his weakness, controls his emotions, clarifies his direction, remembers his mission. He doesn't drift. He drives. And every page he writes becomes a blueprint of becoming. Your mind is not a hard drive. It's a battlefield stop trying to remember everything. You won't. Your brain isn't made to store. It's made to solve. But if your mind is filled with fog, with scattered thoughts, with regret and noise, you can't solve anything. So extract it. Put it on the page. Every distraction, every doubt, every moment of weakness. Get it out. And what remains? A clear field to fight on. Don't just reflect. Rebuild. This journal isn't for you to cry into. It's not therapy, it's war planning. You don't write to vent, you write to recalibrate. Your words become weapons. Every reflection is a blueprint. Every confession becomes correction. Every night becomes reset. Most men sleep numb. You will sleep prepared. For the next battle, for the next test, for the next day that demands your fire. Leave a record of a man who fought back. Imagine. Someone finds your journal after you're gone. What will it say? He scrolled all night. He wanted to change but never did. He chased women, avoided work, and died the same as he lived. Or will it say, this man fought himself every day. He tracked every scar, every mistake, every win. He became a weapon through reflection. He lived with fire and died with none of it left inside him. Write like your legacy depends on it, because it does. Final orders. Write, reflect, repeat, without excuse. No negotiation. No laziness. No, I forgot. This is not optional. This is part of your discipline, just like training, just like fasting, just like silence. You end every day by facing the mirror. With pen in hand, no mask, no excuse, no mercy. You write down the truth. You write down the failure. You write down the plan. You bleed it out on the page so you don't bleed it out in life. This is your iron journal, your daily audit, your written war. Write, reflect, repeat, every night, until the last one. You've heard it all now. Not motivation, not fluff. Commands. 8. Ruthless habits. 8 weapons of war. 8 ways to slaughter the weak man inside. Kirsian and forge something that cannot be broken. Let's make one thing clear. These aren't tips. They're not trends. They're not productivity hacks. These are laws, and the men who obey them dominate. You wake before the world and own the silence. You train your pain and sharpen the edge. You cut all contact and reclaim your power. You rebuild in shadows on and terrify the doubters. You kill your reactions and think like a king. You eat once and move with precision. You meditate on death and move with urgency. You journal nightly and rise with clarity. This is not self-help. This is self-war. You're not here to be liked. You're here to become legendary, and make no mistake, you only have 2 options. Decay quietly in comfort, or rise in ruthless silence. Because comfort is a lie, a padded coffin. And every time you sleep in, scroll, complain, or delay, you're choosing death over dominance, but now you know better. So here's your challenge. Tomorrow morning, before the sun rises, begin. Get up early. Move, write, cut the noise. Feel the pain. Hold the silence. Live like a man who's running out of time, because you are. You'll want to quit. You'll want to delay. You'll want to slip back into your old skin. Don't. That man is dead. You buried him in chapter 1. You silenced him in chapter 2. You replaced him with the one who doesn't ask for permission. He takes the throne in silence, and when they ask where you went, don't explain, don't reply, don't show your wounds. Let your new life speak. Let your discipline roar louder than their doubt. Let your silence become legend. A man must stand erect, not be kept erect by others. Marcus Aurelius, stand on your own, with your code, with your habits, with your scars, because this world won't hand you power. You build it, brick by brick, in the dark, alone, unapologetically. This is your war now, and you are the weapon. Go be dangerous. Go be silent. Go rebuild.